A lot of young people listen to people who tell them that it's impossible for them to achieve certain things. I have grown a couple of tech companies in Nigeria as well as in the Western market from point zero to where they are currently. And I'm going to tell you 25 things that I've learned for 25 years. I am Susan, a digital marketing and growth professional. One of the things I've learned, life is a series of lessons, good or bad. It's never always rosy. How do you put all of these experiences together to forge ahead and not get discouraged? Commit to personal growth. If you know me personally, you will know that I'm driven by personal growth. I always want to get better, either by reading books, either by taking courses, whatsoever. And then this also reflects to how much you can earn because you're learning. Expectations can mentally drain you. I have grown myself to being at a point where I don't expect things from people, not even family, no one at all, right? And so anything I get from people, I am always extremely grateful because I imagine that you do not owe me anything. And then the fourth one, setting healthy boundaries. I cannot speak about this enough. Setting healthy boundaries is actually the most important self-care that you can actually imbibe right now. It helps you to stay in check. It also ensures that you get the right respect you need from people. Measure your relationships. It's not about quantity, but it's about quality. Who are the people that you have around you? How do they make you get better, right? Do you need to, move around with your age mates? Do they make you get better? Who are those people you move around with? Measure it. Look at the people around you. Measure how impactful these guys are to you. Seeking help is no weakness, really. Like, as humans, we should be able to ask for help when we need it. You're not superhuman, right? You cannot figure out everything on your own. So be happy to ask for help. I'm very open to ask for help when I do not know, even if it's from an intern, if it's from a senior colleague, whoever really. Another thing you need to know, it never gets easier, right? People tell you that, oh, it gets easier, but the further ahead you get, the difficult it gets. But at the end of the day, right, there's always this light at the end of the tunnel. Time flies. Never waste your time, Don't wait until tomorrow before you apply for the job. Don't wait until next week before you talk to that person, right? The opportunity you have now, use it. One very amazing one I like to also talk about is no one can read your mind. We just assume that people can read our minds and then we expect them to do certain things, right? But at this point, I've understood that if people cannot read my mind, I can only tell them what I want them to do, right? So don't assume that anybody should or is able to read your mind, right? Communicate. Another very important thing that I also like to talk about is add value first, right? When you get into a place, when you walk into a company, when you are in a community, at your workplace, how much value do you add? So my mindset is always at the first place is, how do you add value? How do you add value? Instead of you to try to make like a massive change, like when you get into a place, but look at what is already existing and see how you can add value. All good happens outside of your comfort zone. And then this seems like it's, motivational talk and all of this kind of stuff. And also hear people always talk about dedicate 1 year to massive self-improvement and see what happens. I thought it was a joke, but I tried that in 2021, or I think mostly in 2022. And in just a few months, like the growth is massive, like job offers, engagements and all of these things, right? But the truth is that it's not happening in my comfort zone. Discipline your mind, right? I go to the gym every morning and then people always say, oh gosh, you're so disciplined. Yes, I am disciplined. Waking up every morning, being intentional to go put your body in some form of discomfort, right? And at the end of the day, say I go to the gym at say 6 or 7, right? And I leave at 9. I know that I am opening myself up to positive energy, but then that's like a sacrifice I have to make. And then this discipline also cuts across every aspect of my life. Never quit the game. Something a friend shared on Twitter yesterday, right? He's a growth marketer and then he currently just got like a role as a blockchain intern. So some people will see it as failure, but I was really proud of him, right? Because he's trying to be a blockchain engineer in as much as he's a senior person in marketing. He stooped so low to getting like an intern role as a blockchain engineer. In 2021, Q3, Q4, right? I was very interested in understanding myself. Understanding yourself is very important. Like 90% of people, you don't even know yourself. You don't know what triggers you. You don't even know how you react in certain situations, right? And that's why sometimes people say, oh, I'm sad, I don't know why. I don't know why, because you don't even know yourself, right? I know how I would react to certain situations because I have invested time in trying to learn and understand myself. And then that's one of the most important things that you can actually do. Kindness is not weakness. Always be kind, right? I remember the word of my birth like a few years ago, sometime, in 2019 when I got like my first senior role. He said one of the things you need to, keep in check and always ensure you're kind to people. You don't need to be nice, but you need to be kind, right? So, but then people or misunderstand what kindness is, right? And then which leads to lack of boundaries. Another very interesting one I talk about is that we can't learn without pain. Learning is painful, or learning can be painful. You also need to identify your learning pattern, right? I know there are 4 learning patterns. I don't exactly remember all of them right now, but you need to identify your learning style. So someone like me, I'm the kind of learner that I like to see and I like to experiment. For an example, I'm watching like a YouTube video, right? I like to execute as I am saying, right? That's like how I learn. So you need to identify like your learning pattern. You only get it right once, right? So why don't you take that step? Why don't you, yes, you've gotten 100 rejections. Why don't you keep trying, right? Just once, you just need to get it right and you're good. Set very clear and empowering goals. So every time something new happens that is great, or whenever I meet my goal, or you're only able to measure stuff that you have planned. Set very realistic goals, right? Set realistic goals, because when you set unrealistic goals, every time you find yourself not meeting your goals, right? And it's capable of affecting your self-esteem. So set ambitious yet realistic goals so that you can crush these goals and then still stretch yourself to crush them, and then be happy with yourself that you are able to stretch yourself to meet that goal. And again, because it's realistic. Also, in the issue of comparison, right? Compare yourself to only your yesterday, not to another person. I once posted something and I said that on trying to be like him or her, be ready to make the sacrifices that the person have made. Don't just sit down comparing your growth to another person's growth. Are you ready to, after your 9 to 5, probably record the videos, taking your courses and all of those? Are you ready to do that? If you're ready to that, then of course you can compare your growth to another person. But until then, compare your growth with the previous day. Another very important one is set a standard for yourself. What do you want?